A storm brews in Port Charles, secrets, suspicions, and a fractured legacy. The sun may have risen over Port Charles on June 3, but the air was thick with turmoil, deception, and the quiet reverberations of a city still reeling from loss. What began as a subtle shift in loyalties is spiraling into a public unraveling for Sonny Corinthos, once the town's most formidable figure of power. Now facing a potential criminal indictment, he finds himself not only under legal scrutiny but also losing the confidence of those closest to him. Thursday's unfolding events drew a jagged line between past sins and present consequences, leaving no room for denial, no place for sanctuary. Sonny's world, long built on loyalty and code, has begun to crack from within. Once feared and respected, he's now a prime suspect in a tragic death that has shocked the community and tainted what little trust remained in his name. Though the circumstances of Natalia's demise remain under investigation, whispers of Sonny's involvement have gained dangerous momentum. His interactions with Natalia in recent weeks were erratic and emotionally charged, culminating in a series of public outbursts and private allegations that left many in Port Charles confused, divided, and suspicious. The decision by Dante Falconeri to reach out to Jason Morgan was not merely a procedural formality. It signaled a deeper concern, perhaps even a silent cry for clarity. Dante, torn between his badge and blood ties, approached Jason not as a cop or even a son, but as someone desperate for answers in a world that no longer makes sense. Jason, stoic as ever, received Dante's cryptic remark, "Should I keep looking, or are they buried in the woods?" with an intensity that suggested he too sensed the dangerous ambiguity in the air. Nothing is certain anymore, and trust is now a luxury they can no longer afford. Complicating matters is the tragic arc of Natalia Rogers Ramirez, whose recent behavior shocked even her closest allies. Once a polarizing figure whose past judgments alienated many, Natalia appeared to be on a redemptive path, only to spiral rapidly into chaos. Her descent was marked by dubious, erratic text messages to her son Marco, and a troubling confrontation at a public baptism where she bizarrely insisted Sonny would abandon everything and flee to Belize with her. Whether her actions were driven by emotional instability, substance abuse, or something darker remains uncertain, but her fall from grace was steep and public, setting the stage for a tragic end that now demands accountability. But was she truly the architect of her own destruction? Or was she maneuvered into a trap designed to discredit and discard her? The questions grow murkier, the answers more elusive. Meanwhile, Sonny's son Michael is finding himself caught in a web of emotional confusion and public scrutiny. Already strained by the burden of familial legacy, Michael's personal life is unraveling just as his father's world collapses. Willow's unexpected and unapproved appearance at Wiley's swimming class suggests deeper instability. Her presence at the Metro Court pool, visibly shaken, led Michael to gently but firmly urge her not to drag Wiley further into their disputes. As always, the child becomes the battlefield on which broken adults wage their wars. Elsewhere, Brooke Lynn Quartermain's habitual snooping has finally yielded unintended consequences. Her mishandling of sensitive documents, carelessly leaving them in plain sight, has created a ticking time bomb. Rocco Falconeri may not yet know the full extent of what he stumbled upon, but with Emma Scorpio Drake encouraging him to pursue the truth, the countdown has begun. Her words were more than simple advice, they were a push toward emotional awakening. The moment Rocco discovers the file, the chain reaction will be irreversible. And with it, Lulu Spencer will be forced to confront the reckoning she has tried so hard to delay. Her past promises to her children, vows never to lie or withhold truth, will shatter beneath the weight of her own secrecy. The pain she tried to prevent is now inevitable, and the emotional fallout will be profound. The generational cost of deception is becoming clear. Children who were once protected by lies are now weaponized by them, and no parent can shield them from the truth forever. Giovanni, meanwhile, finds himself at a crossroads. Tracy Quartermain, never one to mince words, delivers a dire warning cloaked in maternal concern. Her message is unambiguous. If Gio continues his association with Sonny, the consequences will be not only personal but potentially fatal. Tracy knows too well the cost of entanglement in the Corinthos sphere, and her instincts tell her that Gio is in imminent danger. Whether out of love, fear, or self-preservation, her warning is not one to be ignored. Yet Gio, shaped by both pride and defiance, may not heed it. The young man has grown in the shadows of conflicting legacies, torn between his need for belonging and his pursuit of truth. If he chooses to stand beside Sonny, he risks becoming collateral damage in a war far beyond his making. But if he walks away, he may lose the last chance at redemption his family has left. As Sonny faces mounting questions from investigators and the press, it becomes clear that the walls are closing in. He may insist on his innocence, but silence now looks like guilt, and every connection, every whispered loyalty, every act of retaliation, is now ammunition for those eager to bring him down. The balance of power in Port Charles has always been delicate, but what's unfolding now is not merely a struggle for control, it's a reckoning. Lines are being drawn, not between right and wrong, but between survival and collapse. Some will rise from the ashes. Others will be buried beneath them. And as the truth inches closer to the surface, Port Charles braces itself for the next blow. Because in a town built on secrets, the dead never stay silent for long.